to the Dark Side of Soul podcast. This is Joe.
This is Shawn.
And we are, you might notice if you're not watching the video as a patron, the sound is a little different. It's because Shawn and I are actually in the same room, the same car together. We're driving.
A moving room.
Yes, we're driving around Korea. Specifically, we're now in Paju. We're really close to the DMZ line.
Not far from where I live.
Not far from where Shawn lives. And we thought we'd do a driving version of the show. We've been wanting to do that. And talk a little bit about road stuff, transportation.
Road safety.
The dark side of transportation.
The dark side of roads.
Which, that does not sound sexy at all.
No. But
dark side. Even if you say the dark side of transportation.
Right. The dark side of...
It sounds like an Epcot Center pavilion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So follow the lane here to go that way.
So, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And Shawn's going to give me directions because I don't know where I'm going. We're not really going anywhere. We're just driving.
Yes. So, an introduction.
Yeah, we run the Dark Side of Soul Ghost Walk. You can book all that at darksideofsoul.com. We run that 5 days a week. I just ran a tour last night. And we also have a Facebook page, facebook.com/darksideofsoul, where you can join in the conversation. Lots of fun. Shawn regularly does live streamed horror movies. You sit in the chat room and get some popcorn, pizza, and watch classic horror. We also Shawn's coming out with working on a new book.
Yeah, so the book talks about modern ghost experiences in Korea. So if anyone listening has had one, contact us through Facebook. Just send us a message, and we'll get the message, and then just say that I have a story, a ghost experience that I'd like to share. And then I'll get back to you, and we'll connect through email. That's the easiest way to actually share the story. Don't. There's no need to type the whole story out.
Oh my!
Messenger, because a couple of people have done that. I was like, let's just move this to email. It's just easier to do that.
But good effort.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, and I've collected quite a few stories so far. We got lots of stuff recorded from the tour. That's all going into the book, and yeah. So if we like what you have to say, what your experience was, then we'll put it in the book. So yeah, get in touch. Also
very soon, the Dark Side of Soul comic.
Yes, on the way. Yeah, I wrote a comic book, The Dark Side of Soul, Weird Tales from Korean Lore, and my partner, Tim Bauer, has illustrated it. It's just about ready to come out. We're doing some final proofreading, and we'll pass it on to the printer, so it should be out soon. Maybe by the time this video comes out, hopefully.
Possibly by around the time the video comes out. So go to our Facebook page, or go to Dark Side of Soul. Dark Side of Soul. DarkSideOfSoul.com.
Go to Sark Died of Soul.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is what 4.5 months of not drinking will do to you.
That's right. You need a drink, Joe.
Let's do that now. Oh man. So yeah, that's what else are we doing right now? We also have an Instagram if you want to do our Instagram.com/darksideofsoul.
Yep. It's fairly I update it now and again. I should be a little bit more active on there. Because every time I post something, we get 1 or 2 follows. So I should be posting regularly on there. A lot of people are seemingly migrating from Facebook to Instagram these days. But we're far more active on Facebook.
Yeah, I can see why people are moving more to Instagram. It's just for peace. It's just a nicer conversation on Instagram.
Yeah. So, and thank you to our patrons. We're on Patreon as well. Did we say that?
No, patreon.com/darksideofsoul, where you can watch the videos of our show. Just contribute, so maybe $5 a month, and you get all this extra stuff.
Yeah, exclusive content.
Yeah,
Early access to our podcast and the video versions of the podcasts, the unedited versions of the podcast as well. And what else? Oh, the exclusive content. I do Weird Tales from Korean Lore, and which that audio series, I get the name for that from the comic book. It came up with the name for the comic, and then when I was thinking what to do with that audio series, turn right next to
where?
At the intersection.
Oh.
And I was thinking what to call the audio series. I was like, I'll just call it Weird Tales from Korean Lore. Keep things within the same lane. But I also do
same lane.
In the same lane.
Transportation reference right there.
I'm gonna do a lot of car puns. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I'm good with puns. Actually, I'm not. Yeah, and then the other series I do, audio series, is Letters from the Dead. And that's really new. I've only done 2 of those so far.
Can I turn right here?
You have to. I think you can go. I guess.
They just did.
They just did. Maybe, but you'd have to stop here. You can't. I don't think you can go through there.
I'm doing it.
Okay. There's no cars coming. So yeah, we're doing this episode. Oh, and then thank you to our patrons. Joe's driving, so I'll do a lot of this introduction. So thanks to Angel Earl, Joel Bonomini, Jamie Staley, and Shaaron Cullen. And if you become a top tier patron, those are our top tier. That's not all of our patrons. We have more than that. But
we have more.
Yeah, we have more than that. But yeah, keep going straight. And just follow this road, and we'll be heading up towards. Not Big Man Eagle, towards the Book Village, actually.
Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be where you keep all the bodies.
That's behind the Book Village. So not far. Yeah. Also in Provence, I have a few.
Provence.
So yes, but those are our top tier patrons. Thank you to all of our patrons. Those are top tier patrons. If you become a top tier patron, you get a lot of other goodies too. You get way more stuff. You get to chat with Joe and myself once a month. We do a Zoom video chat, which is always good fun.
And everyone. It's a fun group. And
yeah.
The last one, Shawn and everyone was up until the wee hours of the morning getting drunk.
5:30 in the morning we stopped. Yeah. I think I finished almost a whole bottle of whiskey that night. It was great. We were just chatting about so many different things, and a lot of it's a blur, to be honest. I don't remember a whole lot of it.
Nerds.
So, yeah, we chat about a lot of stuff. Everyone's really intelligent and passionate about their views and their ideas and their loves of things, and so it's great. It's a great group. It's a lot of fun.
It's fun.
Yeah. So that's our patron. So become a patron. Become a patron today.
There we go.
Yeah. So Joe. Roads.
Yeah. They take you places.
Yeah. They take all roads
lead to
Paju.
All ghost tales lead to Paju. It seems like all road based.
Yeah, a lot of them do. Yeah, there's a whole ton.
So there's a strip. We might drive it.
We could get on it. Yeah. It's easy to get on it.
Really?
Near the Book Village. It's up to you, though. We can just explore Paju a bit more.
Yeah, we could do that, too. Yeah. We're near it. There's a strip, Jayuro, Freedom Road. And it kind of goes to North Korea, if it could. In fact,
it goes to the border.
It goes to the border when the first summit with Kim Jong-un happened a couple of years ago. Or was it last year? Oh my gosh, when was it?
It was a year. Oh, was that 2 years ago?
No, last year.
I think it was last year. A year. April passed.
Yeah,
I think that's right.
South Korean President Moon Jae-in drove Jayuro up to North Korea. Ironically, that was the very same road North Korea used to invade Seoul. But there's this little strip between Paju and Seoul around Goyang. And there's lots of talks of ghost stories around that way.
Yeah.
Okay, watch out, car.
Yeah.
You're gonna. Okay.
We're telling ghost stories. We don't want to become a ghost story.
Yeah. Yeah. So lots of people have seen this. There's this one strip where they see the shape of a woman in the middle of the road, wearing those really large sunglasses. And as they get closer, they realize they're not sunglasses. They're eye sockets. A couple of celebrities, Tak Jae-hoon and Park Hee-jin, have also claimed to have seen it. But it's this one strip. Now, if you ever driven Jayuro, I drove Jayuro last night.
Mm-hmm.
And that in itself is a little dangerous because the drunks on that road. And
it's easy to get to that highway from Hongdae, and that's where people are out partying. It's a lot of drunk drivers do pass through there. Yeah,
and there's this one strip that is not as well lit, and it has like occasional street lights, and there's a lot of fog in this area, and so that's been attributed to the ghost. And also, hold on.
Watch the turn here.
I know, I'm watching the turn. I'm checking my notes. Yeah. I just want to make sure I don't leave anything out.
Right.
But there's speculation that this could be where people see the ghost, or sometimes they see a gray alien.
Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't heard a lot about that. But yeah, they say it's a gray. Yeah, a gray. They call them the grays. That's interesting. Yeah.
All in this section. There, lots of urban legends come from this area. Like, who is it? One speculation, it's a woman who got in a fight with her boyfriend or her husband and got out of the car. And after she was walking, she got killed in a hit and run.
And her eyes popped out.
Something, maybe so.
Yeah, there's a lot of and that within itself as an urban legend. A lot of urban legends have kind of grown off of that, kind of smaller branches of that urban legend tree.
And I'm sure other places around the world have similar. Lots of on the road stories are kind of similar.
Yeah, well, So like one of the versions of one part of that urban legend, a story that people say happened. There was a taxi driver, and he was driving along the highway, and he saw a woman, and he picked her up. She got in the back seat. She gave the directions to the driver, and he punched it into his GPS. So this wasn't that long ago. This allegedly when it happened, he punched it into the GPS, and the coordinates came up, and it was pretty remote. And so he went there because those are the coordinates that she gave him, and he drove to that area. And he looked back and he said, we're here, and there was no one in the car.
Yeah.
And then when he looked up, they were in front of a cemetery.
Ooh.
And there are a lot of stories like that from around the world. The disappearing ghost that gets dropped off in front of the cemetery. That's very common. So I think it's just migrated over. It's been disseminated into Korean urban legend as well.
But the sunglasses lady is also blamed for, if you see congestion on Jayuro, accidents. Right,
yeah, she could be like a sagui, the vicious ghosts of Korean lore. They cause trouble and calamities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I know someone who claims they saw the ghost, the Jayuro ghost.
Oh, tell me.
And I've met her personally, so she told the story directly to me. And we were just chatting about different things. I was with her, my wife, and then like their friend,
their circle,
their mutual friend, yeah. And I don't remember how we got onto the topic of this. Is probably me, because I'm always fishing to find stories and folk beliefs from Koreans. That's what I do. So I probably brought it up. And,
Kind of like urban legends too. They're kind of like modern folk beliefs, you could think.
Well, there, yeah, contemporary legend, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she said she was driving one night, and she was driving, and she was coming to one of the bridges, along the Jayuro.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few bridges that cross the highway.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and then some of them go directly across to the Han River. And when she was driving, she came to a bridge, and when she looked up, it was still in the distance. When she looked up, there was someone on the railing, kind of looking down at the traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a woman. She had long hair, and the wind was kind of blowing her hair a little bit. And when the woman that I know got closer, and she kept looking up, because she was like, is she going to jump into the traffic? That's what she was thinking. She's like, is this person going to try to commit suicide here? And she kept kind of looking up and looking at the road. And then when she looked up and she got closer, she got a good look at the face, and there were no eyes.
Whoa.
Yeah. And she said when that happened, she kind of screamed in the car, and she almost crashed.
Oh my.
So she got a handle on the car, on the wheel. So a lot of people could say that's another thing that ghosts do. Certain ghosts, like the Sagui, they cause people to have accidents, and even cause them to kill themselves. So yeah, she's adamant. She's like, I saw someone there with no eyes, and it was a woman, and she said she was terrified. It frightened the hell out of her. Wow. And of course, she was past the bridge, or she was on the highway, so she couldn't stop. I don't think she wanted to stop and go back and have a look, but she had to keep going. But she was terrified. She was in the car by herself, and she was on her way home. So yeah. So I met someone who allegedly saw a ghost on the Freedom Highway.
There's a chain of other ones. I think they're more of a truck driver lore.
Okay.
These are fun. I came across these. I came across these in Korean language. Actually, part of it was from Wikipedia, Korean Wikipedia, Korean
really?
Wikia. Yeah. And there are videos of these too.
Mm-hmm.
One is a courier driving on that same strip, and at night. These all happen at night, and they all have very similar stories.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like variations on a theme. And he heard in the back something banging up against the wall. So he stopped and checked, and he opened it up, and he checked all the boxes, and he found one box with this red ooze seeping out the bottom. And he went and checked his manifest. There was no label on it, so he went to check his manifest to say what was going on, and then he saw that manifest said 40. He had 43 packages, and he counted 44.
Okay.
And he freaked out. Said, "Okay, this is not right," and this red ooze coming out the bottom. So he tossed the package in the middle of the road and left.
And that's wow.
And that's it.
Wow. It's just, yeah. So it leaves your imagination to try to decipher what the package.
If you see these packages in the middle of the road, but the other one is a similar one. Is a guy a meat delivery in a freezer truck, and he's same thing. He's driving down that road, and if he hears the banging on the wall of the truck, he stops to check, and it's all these sides of meat frozen hanging there. And he hears the bumping still, and he goes in and he touches this piece of meat that is not frozen, it is still warm, and he looks at his hand and it's all bloody. And so yeah, it's not frozen, it's fresh meat that wasn't there when they loaded up the truck.
Nice.
And same thing, he threw it out in the middle of the road.
Right. Get the hell out of here.
Get out of here. Oh my goodness, this is the same. Oh, okay.
So we're coming up, on the Provence, and
it's right near here. We came across a big dead snake in the middle of the road.
Oh, nice.
You rarely see snakes in Korea.
Dark side of Seoul, roadkill.
And well, we turned around because my wife and child had never seen a snake out in the wild before. So it was like, look, it's a snake.
There are lots of snakes up where I am. Yeah,
One reason I thought I was staying in Korea is I didn't think we had snakes.
There are venomous snakes in Korea.
No, don't tell me this.
There are pit vipers. Well, I because I go hiking all the time, so gotta be aware of wild animals and stuff.
Yeah, there were tigers here.
At one point. Anyway.
That one time I saw a red panda on the tour.
A red panda?
Did I tell you that?
There's no red pandas in Korea. You see it in a zoo?
Yeah, I saw it right behind Doksugung.
You mean raccoon dogs?
It might have been. We looked at each other right in the eye, and it ducked in the bushes. It looked just like a red panda.
Really? You were sure it wasn't a big ferret or something?
I just like trying, because at first I thought it was a cat.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there are red pandas in Korea.
No, I don't think there are either. But there was something there that looked just like a red panda.
I went looking for red pandas once in the Himalaya. The last time, was it maybe my last big trip there? I was going through.
There might be a similar animal that I saw, but I like the idea that was a red panda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
I got another trucker story.
Okay.
Again, that strip of road, but this is more a long haul trip. So there was a big cargo truck, and so there were two guys, and it was. Am I turning right here?
Yeah, turn right here. Yeah.
Okay. There were two guys, and one wanted to go take a nap in the back with where the cargo was, and he went in the back, and a lot of these stories I didn't mention on the other ones before, they also tend to stop and check the cargo anyway, just randomly, just checking everything. So this one time,
that's the motif, yeah.
Stopped and checked the cargo, and the guy was still there and sleeping, and he's like, "Don't worry, I got it covered." And so they go all the way to their destination, and they unload all the cargo, and they're getting ready to come back. And I think the guy was going to go take a nap again, but before they went back, he said he had to go use the bathroom, and it was really short when he was in the bathroom. He comes back, and the guy said, that was really short, and he nods and goes back in the back and covers himself under the blankets, goes back to sleep. The guy starts driving again, and while he was driving, he gets a text message, and it's from the guy, and he says, "Why did you leave me behind?"
Jeez.
He stops the truck, and he shakily looks back, and he goes to grab the blanket, and there's no one under the blanket.
Oh my god. Nice.
Well, those are my news stories I have.
Right. Yeah, those are interesting. Yeah, I've never heard of any of those.
Me neither. So that's why I was really.
Yeah. One thing I find interesting about the way cars are looked at through a folklore lens, they've connected cars. Some Koreans have connected cars to their ancient folklore. So there's the gosa. Gosa are the rituals that Koreans have been holding for a very, very long time. There's a cemetery, by the way. For a very, very long... That's why I wanted to drive this way. So,
there's a cemetery, guys. Look in the back.
Yeah. The gosa were the rituals for appeasing and worshiping the spirits of the home. So, like some of the major spirits are like the Jowang. The Jowang is the kitchen god. Then there's also the Chukshin, which is the bathroom god, the malevolent spirit.
Knowing my luck, that's what I'll end up being.
Right. So, you can go straight here.
I'm not just speed bump.
Yeah. So this is Haiti, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember passing through here. Yeah. I tend to get, whenever I'm recording, I get the bumpiest roads.
So you can choose, this goes to Munsan.
Yeah, I know where I am.
Or, you get back.
Let's go to Munsan.
Sure. So
there's a good restaurant out here.
Okay. We're going way up north now.
Yeah, we're going up to the DMZ now.
Yeah. So these gosa were rituals that Koreans performed at home to appease the spirits that they believed lived in their home. And in modern times, with the advent of automobiles, but especially with the advent of more and more Koreans being able to afford automobiles, they shifted this gosa into modern times, into the charongchakun gosa. So
Cha means car.
Automobile, yeah, literally. So it's the same thing where car meant like a sedan car, but then now we call them automobiles, auto cars.
Mm-hmm.
Koreans did the same thing. Chadong, I'm just saying this for listeners. Chadong means automatic, and cha is car, so it literally means automatic car, automobile. So the Chadong cha gosa, the ritual. And some people still perform these when they buy a new car or after they have an accident. If there is an accident, a minor one, they'll have the Chadong cha gosa to kind of appease the spirits. And so they don't have another one, so they don't have another accident.
Do you know how this ritual is done?
I think it's regional, but certain things would be like taking pollock, the fish, the dried pollock, and hanging it in their car. Sometimes they might take a bujak. Yeah, for a short time. It wouldn't during the ritual.
I was like, that's a little air freshener right there.
Right. And then, or sometimes some other regions they put a bujak, the talisman, in the mouth of the pollock, and then hold the ritual. Another big thing. If you go back to our warding off evil episode, we talked a little bit about red beans and how that was related to funerary customs to avoid spirits from attaching themselves to you and haunting you when you leave funerals. They would in some of the rituals, the Chadong cha gosa, they would take a handful of red beans and throw them at their car.
Okay.
So that was a way to draw out any evil spirit.
Okay, that would make sense.
Yeah, that may be attaching itself to the car.
BTW, this is where we saw the snake right here.
Oh, okay. So
right at that green sign. Right
is it still there?
No, that's what I was like. Is it still there?
Is there another one? If it was still there, that would be interesting. Anyway, yeah. So the Chadong cha gosa. It's really interesting that some people still perform this. And you might in this area that we're currently in. Obviously, we can't show anyone.
I'm really trying to avoid the bumps.
Yeah, don't worry about it. This is a very rural area. Right now,
That's an understatement.
Yeah, I'm going to describe the road. We are currently on a road, straight road, very bumpy, and there's nothing on either side but trees and farms. Especially on the right-hand side
There's
here.
mountains up in front of us. Some of them, I think, are North Korea.
No, we're not that close. No, that's all still South Korea. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's a lot of military bases around here, of course. So this would be the kind of area where you would find people who still hold on to their culture, that rural culture of the folk beliefs. And I'm certain you would find people around here, some old farmers who buy a new car.
I'm gonna go this way.
Yeah, who buy a new car and they would perform the Chadong cha gosa. Now, more on that. The Chadong cha gosa is actually a type of a ritual that Koreans call the engmagi. The engmagi is a ritual that kind of a broader term, an umbrella term for rituals that are used to kind of avoid calamity and disasters and things like that. So Koreans traditionally would perform engmagi at the beginning of the new year. It'd be held especially on the first full moon.
Oh, okay.
So just to avoid any misfortune in the coming year. All very regional as well.
Would this be related to, I've seen this before, where they would do a ritual for a new taxi car?
Oh yeah, that's very likely a Chadong cha gosa.
But they had a pig's head for that one.
Yep, sure.
Soju.
Sure, absolutely. That's exactly what it is.
That's
now,
for fortune, though. I thought that was for fortune.
Well, good fortune, yeah. So gosa is to avoid any calamity, right?
Yeah.
But calamity comes from evil spirits in the folk beliefs, right?
Your pig, which is don.
Yeah. So that's right.
Money.
Yeah, wealth. Yeah, and fortune. So that's like for success, but that's also to ward off. You don't have success if you have a car accident, right?
Yeah.
So it's all kind of linked.
Okay.
So
soju, because the gods like to get drunk.
Yeah. If there's alcohol involved, it's very likely a folk belief related to appeasing deities or pleasing deities of some sort. So that's the Chadong cha gosa, or a type of engmagi, which is a ritual in Korean folk belief, very, very old, where they try to avoid calamity. And it's been modernized to help people not have accidents. Very similar to how St. Christopher,
Yeah.
the patron saint of travelers, how that was modernized. Because
People used to have St. Christopher's medals on their cars.
Exactly. Yep.
There's a little scene in, I think it's Airplane or Airplane 2, where it looks like everyone thinks they're going to crash, and even the St. Christopher's medal goes, ah!
Joe just took his hand off the wheel and we almost went on. Yeah. So so St. Christopher as a patron saint of travelers is ancient. It's old. It's really, really old. The idea of him existing is more of a legend, I think.
Oh, really?
Going back to like the 3rd century. I don't think there was actual evidence that he lived. He was an actual man. But anyway, yeah, he's been a patron saint for travelers for a very long time, and then it updated when we had cars. So yeah, people put medallions on their dashboards. So it's very similar with the Chagosa. Modernized folk beliefs. You gotta keep updated, Joe. You gotta keep.
I do.
Version 2.0, 2.0, 2.10, 2.0.1.
Keep it going. Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta keep updating.
Now, one thing that people notice when they first come to Korea is the driving culture is a little bit different than maybe some Western countries.
Yeah.
You wonder like how many accidents really happen here with the way people drive. Now, I will say, oh wow, this is all military structures here. We're gonna drive in North Korea. Rock tape. What is rock tape? Maybe some Flintstone.
Go stronger,
reference.
longer.
Anyway, yeah, I've noticed it's gotten better over the years. I saw 3 accidents on my way to Seoul yesterday, but
Jesus, 3.
Three. And they were just like bumpers, and it usually involved some bongo truck
Right.
hitting someone in the back.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to ask you, have you seen any accidents? Yeah.
Not
3 just yesterday.
Not like ambulance-worthy accidents. It was just fender benders, and just even then, you couldn't even see a dent.
Yeah, right.
It's just people just being slightly careless. But I've noticed that it's gotten easier. Gotten better. But Korea used to really have a problem with traffic deaths.
Yeah. It peaked. I think it was the year 2000 that it peaked. 2000, 2001 maybe. It was well over 1,000 deaths in a single year, but close to 2,000. And there weren't. I think at that time there weren't as many people driving. Now I'm not sure about those stats. I'm not gonna. I mean, we're not there. I wouldn't say I'm an expert on why things changed, other than maybe you just need more generations that have grown up with cars. I think policy had and
policy
enforcement of policy,
and of course policy and some enforcement of policy. We could deal with a little bit more enforcement.
Well, one that always sticks out to me is that when I first came to Korea, running red lights was common. It was almost expected.
Red lights are just suggestions. Don't you know that?
Yeah. So it still happens, but it's really changed.
We just did that.
Did you just run a red light?
He did that before. He saw one of those other cars running before us.
No, I think that's fine. Edit that part out. But yeah, another big thing was when people would stop at red lights, they'd stop on the crosswalk. Very, very common. So pedestrians crossing the street had to walk around the front or the back of the cars.
Yep.
And walking around the front, some of these cars would be so far out that you'd have to walk around the front of the car, and you'd be getting close to the traffic that's going. That's crossing with you. Or you walk around the back of the car, you're breathing in fumes. So it wasn't a good thing. But years ago, I remember the cops changed it. Or the government wanted to enforce the law. So they I remember that I lived in Ilsan, and yeah, there were cops at all main intersections.
Yeah.
If you had 2 tires over, there was a certain fine.
I remember them. I've seen them out actively finding people.
Yeah, they were doing it for a couple of months, and it really changed. You don't really see that.
I think a lot of people just drove recklessly because they never got any feedback that they were driving recklessly.
Right.
There's a book. There's a book I was reading. I think it's called Drive or something like that. It's all these studies done on road behavior, traffic, and everything. Mm-hmm. And they said that one reason a lot of bad drivers continue to be bad is people don't hump their horns at them or tell them that they're being bad. They're not aware that they're being bad.
That's a big thing for me. I've had a few situations where I'm crossing the street and people would zoom by, and that annoys me. It's dangerous.
I know. I want one of those air horns.
Yeah, right. But I yell at people, and I can speak Korean, so I can yell at them in Korean. I can swear at them in Korean, and I have. One thing that happened to me, probably, let's see, it was before I was married, so it's 15 years ago. I was crossing the street going home. I was walking my dog. It was night, and it was raining earlier that night, like when we started the walk. Mm-hmm. And but it stopped raining about halfway through, and so I had my umbrella closed, and it was one of those small umbrellas. So I had it closed, and I was walking the dog. I was waiting for my light to change in a small street, and my crosswalk light turned green, so I crossed, and then of course the traffic light was red. But as I crossed, a cop ran through the red light and cut me off, and I threw my umbrella at his car, and I hit it, and he stopped. And when he got out, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "What are you doing? You ran a red light. I'm walking with my dog. I have the right of way." And then his partner got out too, and he's kind of looking at me, and then the partner said, "Kata, let's go." So my dog was really big too. I don't know.
It's like foreigner with a dog speaking fluent Korean.
Yeah, well, not fluent, but he was completely in the wrong. Now maybe I should. But
he's a policeman.
Maybe I shouldn't have thrown my umbrella at him. But that's.
What do you do?
What do you do? That comes back to what you just said. People have to know they're doing something wrong. And if he's a cop, he definitely knew he was doing something wrong. He's supposed to be part of the enforcement of law. So I had no problem throwing my umbrella at that cop car. But I think that kind of thing now would be rare. It'd be a lot
I
harder.
wouldn't do that again. There was an issue one time when I was so tempted to do this too. When I'm waiting for a bus, and I'm waiting for work, and I'm waiting for the bus, and it just zooms right by the stop without even taking any passengers. Oh. Not because it was full. It was just just didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like it because it was too congested. Because there were too many buses there, and it just I'll just go by this one. And so I read in the news about one young man who threw a rock at a bus that passed everyone. The bus was in the wrong, but the guy who threw the rock still got in trouble. Sure, yeah, sure.
It's the heat of the moment kind of thing, I suppose.
Dude, there were so many times I just wanted to throw a rock at a bus that just ran right by. And then there's that one time, I think it was 2008, 2007. Don't see it this much anymore, but I was at my bus. Well, I was in the bus, and it was stopping, and then my bus driver was cursing, and then he rolls on the window and starts yelling at this other bus driver next to him, and it turns into a screaming match. I'm like, okay, this is going to take a while. And then the other bus driver got out of his bus, got into my bus, and clocked my bus driver.
Jesus. Yeah, that's going a bit far with it.
That's old Korea.
That's old school. I've seen people fighting for parking spots. Yeah, another.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, no, it's just not worth it. But yeah, it's kind of the road rage happens everywhere for sure. But like you said, back to what you said, it's getting better. I think running red lights is really gotten better, and really is not being done as much anymore.
I think there's also a general awareness. I think people are so used to other people driving recklessly that people...
Right.
Because I've driven in places like Atlanta. Atlanta has a lot of accidents all the time, but I think a lot of the accidents happen because people are not paying attention.
Right.
They're just zoned out because they expect everyone else to drive safely, so they don't do it. Here, I think everyone expects everyone else to do something stupid and sudden, unexpected. So lots of people have this awareness about them.
Right. Yeah, and Have you ever seen anyone hit by a car?
I've seen the aftermath, actually.
Yeah.
I have a really bad story that'll make me sound really bad. I think it was a Jayuro Digital Complex. I
I have a story that's going to make me sound really bad. I'm going to tell it.
I'm going to tell it. Dude, I don't have much to hide. It's a crowded intersection. It was a crowded crosswalk, and I'm doing the crosswalk, and it is one of those cases where the cars are sneaking over the crosswalk. So we're trying to squeeze by, and it just I just walked before I even noticed I was walking over someone who had just gotten hit.
Oh no!
And it didn't register until I'd already walked past them.
Oh no!
But that's what had happened.
Right. Oh my God. That's unfortunate. Well, it's not.
It was a very crowded sidewalk.
Right.
Crosswalk.
Right. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I've seen a couple aftermath accidents. There was a guy, I don't know who was at fault, but a guy. This was at the intersection in Ilsan at the Jayuro intersection, and my bus was going the opposite direction, going towards Seoul, and the guy was on a bicycle, and it looked like I said, this is aftermath, so I'm not exactly sure how it happened, but he was on the ground and he was unconscious. There was blood on the street.
Oh no!
And he wasn't wearing a helmet, and he got hit by a bus that was turning left.
I don't think the helmet would have made a difference.
Maybe not, but he may not have. He may have saved his head, right? At least. But that was after cops were. First responders, I think cops weren't there, but first responders were already, the ambulance was already there. But the guy wasn't moving. So that was terrible.
Yeah.
But I've seen several people get hit by cars in Korea.
Wow.
Right in front of me. A couple of that are the first time was my first year in Korea. And this then opens up the conversation about how a lot of the traffic problems are about bad pedestrians. So
yeah, there's I think it's a Freakonomics podcast about this.
Bad driver right there, seeing me cross through the traffic. The freaking okay, sorry, yeah. I'm keeping my eye open for all this. I was like, so.
I'm focusing now. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm not commenting on that. I'm just like, I hope we don't see an accident.
Oh.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No, this is a Freakonomics show about a lot of pedestrian accidents are the fault of the pedestrian. It's actually around 50-50 around the world.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're driving or not.
And what was proven the best solution is solutions that kept cars away from pedestrians.
Oh,
like freeways, like where we're on right now.
Right.
That was
yeah. So the first one I saw was again is at that same intersection, a little bit farther up in Jayuro, and I don't even know if there still is. I haven't been to that area in a long time, but there was a Pizza Hut there. And I was with my coworkers, and we came out of the Pizza Hut, and we're all just kind of standing around and we're chatting. So, like, anyone want to go get a beer? It was thinking about round 2 kind of thing. And we heard a screech of tires. And when my buddy Shane, Sokun, his English name, the Korean guy, but old Korean friend, met him on my first day in Korea. He and I heard the screech, and we looked up, and we saw a little kid get hit by a taxi.
No!
So he and I bolted. We ran out. And traffic was stopping and going around and stuff. By the time we got there, what happened was the kid was on the meridian that separates the traffic going in both directions. He was crossing the street there. He didn't go up to the crosswalk, but he was with his father. So it looked like, what it seemed to me was his father went first, was running across. His father went first, and the boy followed his dad.
Oh my!
And he got hit by a taxi.
I'm so paranoid. I would never do that.
Yeah. No, never ever cross the street like that myself. But especially not with my daughter in tow.
No.
It's ridiculous. So the kid got hit. We have no idea what happened to the kid, but the father picked the kid up.
Let's go this way.
And
no, I'll go this way.
yeah, okay. He picked his son up and jumped into the cab, and I guess they drove to a hospital. But also, that's first. You never touch anyone who's just been hit. You call the ambulance, get first responders, because you might damage to the neck. Right?
Don't think. Anyway.
Yeah, you know.
I don't think he was the type of person who would have done that.
No, exactly. Yeah. So, and then another time. Do you remember when the Kyobo intersection in Kwanghamun?
Where the Kyobo bookstore is.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So the big intersection, the Kwanghamun intersection. Do you remember when, before they changed it,
when it was just a big traffic circle?
Big mess. But the crosswalk was farther back.
Oh.
It wasn't at the square.
Oh.
It was farther back, so traffic had to drive through the crosswalk to get to the actual intersection.
Oh man!
And I was standing there once after a hike, and I was with a couple of friends, and the guy got his green light to cross, and he started running, and then a car hit him. He went right over the hood.
You gotta always check when you're crossing.
Yeah, and I was a witness. Me and my friends were witnesses. We had to stay. We had to give statements to the police.
Oh my!
Yeah. So it was the person's fault because they had a red light, they had to stop. But it was just poor design as well.
Yeah.
And they've since, years ago now that the crosswalk is now actually at the square.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Now looking back, I remember that.
Yeah. So I always thought that was weird.
One nightmare is you just made me remember something I try to excise from my brain was. I did see my old local mall bus had stopped, and there was an old lady struggling underneath it.
Oh God! Oh my God!
I don't want to see that image again.
Yeah, I know. Stuff like that's just heart wrenching.
Yeah.
Things that you can't unsee just breaks your heart, and you're helpless. There's nothing you can do.
Nothing we can do. I was in the bus going the other way.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, just quick on bad drivers too. Speaking of images you can't get out of your head. I was in a bus one time, and we stopped, and I looked down. It's kind of as you do, it stops, you look out your window a little bit, and I looked down at the car that was next to us, and there was a woman driving the car. She was stopped as well. She had both hands on the wheel. No, she had one hand on the wheel, and she was breastfeeding her baby while driving.
I'm all for public breastfeeding.
Yes, but well, in the car is not public. So, but she was driving the car, breastfeeding her baby on the cell phone. And then before we started driving...
How many hands does this woman have?
I know. So it's like she kind of had her left hand out, with the baby's head was cushioned into her, like kind of like the groove of the inside of her elbow, and then feeding from her left side. And then she was holding the wheel with her left hand, then on the phone with her right hand, and just before we started, the light turned green and we pulled out of the intersection, she hung up her phone and she picked up a coffee. I was floored. I couldn't believe it. That's the worst drive I've ever seen in my life.
You shouldn't be driving.
Oh, you should be. You go to jail.
Yeah.
You go to jail. Putting that little baby's life at risk, you lose your child. I think I fully support people, social services getting involved and saying, yeah, no, you failed the test. You failed the motherhood test. You are now no longer responsible for the safety of this child because you obviously don't care.
Yeah, I would just wonder what the circumstances was, but then...
Yeah, but still, she was very nonchalant. She wasn't in a rush. She was just on the phone, chatting, then she'd sip from the coffee. Now and again, she looked down at the baby. So, awful. So, circumstances, don't know, I think regardless of circumstances, in a situation like that.
I think we're on the strip right now.
I was just going to say, we are now on the Jayuro, and we're here around the area where people claim to have seen those ghosts. We are here. On the right-hand side with me, we're heading towards Seoul. We're heading southerly.
Is this the Imjin River right here?
No, it's the Han.
It's the Han?
Yeah.
It might be back here then. It's the Imjin.
Is it closer to the Imjin?
Yeah.
Okay. So on the right-hand side here is the Han River. This is all the barbed wire all along here. There's I think it's two layers of barbed wire. There's watch posts all along here.
Gimpo on the other side.
Gimpo on the other side. That's right. So anyway, yeah, and then bad drivers, man.
Yeah, I think we got a show.
yeah. But just quick, some other interesting, maybe before we wrap up, unless you have something else to share, about public transportation. And I still think the worst drivers in Korea are bus drivers.
I think they don't train them. They'll get guys who have never driven before. They just get their license just to drive a bus, so they've never driven before. And there's not much oversight.
Right.
It depends on the bus company.
Yeah. And they're worked like slaves. They're
overworked.
Way too long. They're tired. There are so many accidents because bus drivers fall asleep at the wheel. There was two really big profile ones a couple of years ago, and one was, I don't remember which highway it was. It was outside of Seoul, driving towards Seoul, and we had video of this because someone had the camera in the back of the back window of their car, and the driver was driving a interprovincial bus, and he fell asleep at the wheel, and he hit a car in front of him. And the bus went up over the car, and it rolled the car into a ball. Yeah,
I think I've seen that one. It's 4 ladies in that car.
No, it was an older married couple.
Okay.
And
I remember that one.
They just got back from, I think it's their grandchild's first birthday.
Oh no.
So, either a celebration of the birth, like the baby went home or something like that. Maybe the 100 day, because Koreans still mark the 100 days, or the first birthday. I can't remember which one exactly, but they died. The grandparents died. Both of them died, and they died because the bus driver rolled their car into a ball, went right up over the car.
Yeah,
and because the drivers worked to death, worked to the bone.
Yeah, we've had some incidents with airport limousine drivers, the airport bus drivers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've had accidents.
Yeah, and falling asleep. Yeah, awful. It's terrible. And then just quick on public transportation. Korea's first public transportation were the streetcars, the trams, that were launched in Seoul. That was over 100 years. It was 1899.
Which people thought were possessed.
Yeah, there's a lot of really interesting superstitions surrounding them that were drawn. Some of it was drawn out of the folklore, and a lot of it was drawn out of just misunderstanding of how they worked and they operated. But there was a drought at the time when they first launched, and the people blamed the drought on the streetcars, on the trams. So, interestingly, they fought back and they destroyed a couple of the streetcars, and the company had to shut down the streetcars for some time, a couple of weeks or something. And not long after the streetcars were shut down, it started to rain.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, it started to rain. But another interesting thing is that with the streetcars, several people, like I said, mostly men, realized that the rails were quite cold. They stayed cool, so they were a nice place to sleep in the summer. So, obviously not a good place to sleep anytime, summer regardless, but men would come out at night when they knew the last train had passed through on its way to I think it was Seoul Station was the terminus station at the time for the final car of the night.
Yeah.
And which was called the Owl, Bonomini. And but I think it was in the summer 1900, around August, I think it was, early August 1900. That last car was running late, and a couple of men thought that they didn't know that it was running late. They thought that it had already passed. So they came out and they lay on the tracks with their straw mats. And they fell asleep using the rail like a pillow. And of course, the car came through, probably fast. Late at night, the driver wanted to finish his shift at home, and so he saw them lying on the rail, but he couldn't stop in time, and he ran them over and cut their heads off.
Yikes!
So one of the other people were hit by cars. There was an accident. If I'm remembering right, there was an accident on the bridge. I'm blanking on the name of the bridge. Oh my God. The bridge where we have on the tour.
Oh, Gwangtangyo.
Yeah, Gwangtangyo. That's right. As far as I recall, and I may be wrong about this. I'll double check. If anyone listening wants to do the research and I'm definitely going to double check. But you may want to double check yourself just to be sure. I'm pretty sure tracks ran across Gwangtangyo. At one point, and at one point a car tipped over on it and broke part of the bridge. It was an accident. So there are some of the earliest traffic accidents in Korea's history.
All right.
And we got through the show without an accident.
Show's not over yet.
Still time.
Let's end it. All right. So thank you for listening. Just remind you again, we do run the Dark Side of Soul Ghost Walk at darksideofsoul.com. You can join our patrons if you want to watch videos and get all this extra stuff at patreon.com/darksideofsoul. We would like to thank our top tier patrons: Angel Earl, Joe Bonomini, Jamie Staley,
Shaaron Cullen.
Shaaron Cullen.
Send me your ghost stories.
And send Shawn ghost stories, and stay tuned for the Dark Side of Soul comic.
Yes. I'm so excited for that.
Coming out. It looks gorgeous.
Yes, it does.
It looks great. So
join our tour. We're running. We've had 2 this weekend. I ran one, and then Joe ran one.
Yeah, they're happening. They're happening again.
And I have one
really
next
great. We've had a definite COVID-19 dry spell.
Yep.
But it's coming back.
Yep. We wear our masks and we social distance. We do as much as we can.
Do as much as we can.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, so until next time, everyone, stay safe
and spooky.
Stay spooky. Stay spooky.
Stay spookily safe and good night. That's day. But thanks for joining.